Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can hear me. Nancy, can you hear me? Mute that. And okay, so um, I'm working on this story, and it's giving me some trouble because I'm trying to write something a little different. Uh, so this story is called The Possession. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. And then, yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's called The Possession, and the whole idea of this story is to tell it from the point of view of the victim. So my idea is that from the study I've done on demonology, which is not a lot in contemporary Christianity, doesn't have a lot to do with demons unless you talk to evangelists, and they're a little skewed, in my opinion, and that is my opinion. But the let's see, does that look a little better? No, how about that? Yeah, there we go. All right, so from what I've read from the books of the Bible that study, or the books of the Catholic Bible that study angels, and the various scholarly works been done on biblical demons. Every religion on earth has a form of demon. In fact, the jinn from the Islamic faith are the exact same description of demons in the Judeo-Christian realm. And angels and demons are the same thing. Angels that fell became demons, so they have the same attributes. Angels are action. They are the utility of God. They are, for example, Michael is about war. He is an avatar of war. He's the leader. And a demonic example would be rage or sloth or their actions. They are spiritual action. So just like the burning bush, something has to be possessed, whether that is a sentient being or a object. So my idea is, I watched The Exorcist when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I snuck into the living room and watched it in the middle of the night when my parents were asleep, and it scared me so bad I didn't sleep for like 3 days. But it really stuck with me, and I always wondered what Reagan would feel like, right? What did she know what was going on as it was going on? How did this affect her while this entity was raging inside, on the outside? What was going on the inside? So that's the idea of this story. And because the novel I'm working on is urban fantasy, it is bound to the Judeo-Christian philosophy. My main character is a direct descendant of Cain, so I have to use I want to use something familiar that people will get. So my process, if you haven't watched the creative writing series that I put out, my process is I write it. It can be junk. It's repetitive. My first drafts are always really bad, from my point of view. Of course, I'm harder on my work than other people are, but I get it down. I get what's going through my brain onto the page, and then I wait 1 or 2 days, and I go back through and I read it and edit as I read. It's very important for me to read it out loud, so that I can understand, so that I can hear it instead of my brain filling in the blanks. My brain filling in the blanks is also the reason I wait 2 or 3 days before I edit a work. Um, I had a novel that I wrote, oh, heck, it's been 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and it was huge. It was like 3 novels. It was like 200,000 words, and a lot of beginning writers do that. But when I went back to reread it and rewrite it, I couldn't rewrite it because I'd spent so much time on it that the holes and the repetitions, everything, my brain just filled in the blanks and skipped items it didn't need to know. So I couldn't edit it. I had a conversation with a prominent author who told me to put it away and don't even think about it for a year at least. Then that way, when I'll go back to it, yes, I'll remember it, but my brain won't be able to fill in blanks. So that's what I tend to do in my short stories as well. And I'll be honest, these short stories are written for 2 reasons. One is to give me background and rules, character attributes, things like that I can go back and reference. And 2 is to promote and build this channel and eventually self-publish this novel. And it's more important for me to build even if it's a small following I build, that it is a loyal following and it's people who really want to explore these ideas and this story. So let me get started. I'm calling it The Possession right now. That's a working title. It's probably going to be the final title, as you can see from the background here, Possession. And I get these photos from Adobe stock. I subscribe to Adobe. I get a discount. I pay like, I don't know, $45 a month for the full suite. And it includes like 10 images from Adobe stock for free. And then images that you get from Adobe stock are like $2 to $3, maybe $4 at most. And that's what I've been doing because I'm not an artist, I'm not an animator. But I'm also probably tomorrow evening going to do some filming, and I'm going to do a Halloween stream at probably 9 p.m. Central Time on Halloween. And I'm going to stream the stories, and then I'm going to have a little short horror film at the end, so that it's something a little different. Maybe it'll get me a little bit of traction. People will see something. And it is something that if nobody tells you to put your work away and come back to it, then you're never going to know. That's not something they teach in creative writing class. I had like, I don't know, 6, 7 creative writing classes in college, and none of them told me this kind of stuff. It's through trial and error. And that's one of the reasons I started this channel, was that I wanted to tell people, things that I learned that nobody else would teach me. I honestly believe that the world would be better off if people like writers took on apprentices. No, I don't. And I do have a journal, though. I keep a dream journal. And I just picked up McConaughey's new book, Greenlight. And he's been keeping a journal since he was like 15, every day for 36 years. And that's what he wrote this book on. And like he said, he put the good times in there as well as the bad. Because most people, when they journal bad stuff. I journal story ideas mostly and flesh them out a little bit. I had to recently take them off the notes in my phone. And yeah, Yeah, the apprenticeship thing, masterclass is a good step. I want to do that, but $100 for one class is a lot for, just a video. But yeah, I think Stephen King, he's at a point in his life that he should pick up an apprentice and let the apprentice take a lead in writing something, and he just give tips and tricks and edit and go through and show somebody the practical way to write, and we could build, a great literary movement that way. Uh, you know, just like blacksmiths used to print. I think you shouldn't have to go to school for this kind of stuff anymore. I really don't. You get what, 12 years of grammar and reading in grade school. So I don't think there's any need to go to 4 years of formal college to learn how to write. It's crazy. It's crazy. But, I have 2 degrees, and publishers don't like talking to you if you don't have some sort of educational background. It's crazy. So, but let's get started. Let me pull it back up. Okay, so it's called The Possession. And like I said, I'm going to start off, I'm going to read it a little bit, and then we'll go through and talk about what needs to change. And usually part of my problem is that I'll edit it and I'll have it where I think it's perfect, but as I'm reading it for the video that I produce, I end up editing as I read. So I'm trying to get to where I'm not having to do that as much with these short stories. My novel has been in the drawer for about I'd say a month, 2 months, and so I'm really gonna wait at least another 3 months, possibly 4, before I take that out and work on it. And at that time, I'm probably not going to be doing a lot of short stories or poems or anything, because it's going to take all my effort to do that. I might do some snippets of how I edit and things, just so I can have some content on the channel weekly. And I'll do these streams every Wednesday night, every Wednesday morning around 3. I launched this stream and then noticed Wes put out a thing where he was going live about 30 minutes ago. So it's possible he's going to go live here too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read it out loud and go. Pain. It was all pain and fire and darkness. Now I'm going to change this because I may actually take this paragraph completely out, because this is really what the story is. Yeah, and hey TWTG. Yeah, I got convinced because of when I grew up in the 80s. You know how they push everybody into school. And it convinced me that I had to have a degree to become an author. And so I went through that path. And then I get out and I realize, that because I'd written a lot of stuff before I went into the military. I went in the military when I was 21, and I didn't get my degree till I was 26, my first one. And I had a lot of work that I had done, but agents wouldn't talk to me. They're like, "Where'd you get your degree?" And I'd say didn't have one. And they'd say, "Call me back when you have a degree." So that's the way the mentality was back then. And yeah, it's a lie. It's the biggest lie. I wasted a lot of time and a lot of money. So let me read this paragraph. Pain. It was all pain and fire and darkness. Now that line, pain, fire, and darkness, I have to change because hell it's pain, and it's the fire of ice. Like if you burn yourself with dry ice or something. That's what I'm kind of going for. While she's stuck inside herself, while this other entity is going to be controlling her. So the problem that I'm having with this story is that it requires a lot of setup, quite a bit of setup. And I'm trying to keep these stories between 15 and 20 minutes. And I fail a lot of the time. But have you ever watched somebody like in The Exorcist and wondered what it was like from that possessed person's point of view? Well, let me tell you, it's far more horrific from the inside than the out. So I'm going to cut this, and because I might use that somewhere later. I might put that back in as a at the end, maybe as a kind of, we'll see. But it started with an antique shop. My parents always thought themselves as collectors. My mother found an old statue and gave it to me to put in my bedroom. And it's actually gave it to me for my dorm, because I changed that later in the story. She told me it was an ancient representation of a god in Mesopotamia known as Dumazid. Dumazid, I did a little bit of research on that. Dumazid is a fertility god from ancient Mesopotamia. And the idea is that when God put in the commandments, do not worship idols, right? The reason for that was that when the power of belief is intrinsically placed in an object or a person in a worshipful form, it opens up that item, object, or person to possession. Because belief is a very powerful thing. In fact, a lot of tales in the urban fantasy genre concede that maybe we made the gods because of our belief, that the psychic power of our belief created beings that do this, that represent our morality and our ideals of what a god would be. A lot of people believe that's the reason that the Greek and Roman deities were very capricious. They were extreme examples of the good and bad traits of humanity. Yeah, I have too, about the possession thing. So that's why I think it is a much more interesting story told from the person who's possessed point of view. Because they're losing control. They're not, everybody recognizes somebody who's possessed because they're not the same person. And it's almost an overnight change. It's not overnight, but it's almost an overnight change, and that's what I'm trying to say. So Dumazid is a placeholder. The item is actually has the spirit of a demon in it. And the idea is that the demon has to get a person, because a person has free will, has to invite the demon in. So a demon has to use a hook to get you to invite them in. They use lies, they use promises of fame, fortune, things like that. And they or lust, something that makes you feel pleasure or gives you some sort of gratification response. They're going to promise you everything to get in. So that's the idea of this story. This is a young girl in her early 20s about to go to college. She's proper, she's prim, she loves her parents. It's one of those things. So Do you know that in Islamic religion, do you know what the Islamic religion calls demons? They call them jinn. Yeah, jinn. Not some cute chick in a bottle, but a demon. It turns out that demons and angels are action. That demons, like angels, are action. See what I mean? I tend to repeat myself a lot. So let's take that out. It turns out that demons are like angels. Turns out that demons are like angels. An expression of action. They have a single purpose, and the spirit and are spiritual entities. These spirits must have a physical representation to express their action. Therefore, they need to attach themselves physically to a physical entity or object. Yeah, genie or jinn. So yeah, that's what I believe, is that a spirit can travel around in an object, but it craves to be able to influence their action upon the world in general, right? So, man, I know that I don't know if it's me, and maybe you guys can chime in on this, but I don't know if it's me, but it seems like in these stories I keep going back to a theme. The vampires use sex to seduce, right? The the bad guys tend to use lust as their main hook in these stories, and I don't know why. Maybe because it's easier, because I'm a guy and I remember being a lustful teenager, and at times I can be lustful now. I just have self-control. I mean, I'm no Tobin. Maybe that's what they should call it now, is Tubin, doing the Tubin. But I think that because our society places such an extreme and profound need for that little moment in the act of sex that gives you a euphoria, a bliss, that little death. I think as a society, or as humans, we crave that. And I think that's why it's easier to use that as the hook. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my background, what I've seen in the world. I don't know. But yeah, so that's where this went. So I knew nothing of this when I was 19 years old and getting ready to move off to college. And unfortunately, I've had a lot of time these last 20 years to learn everything I could about the subject. There was a reason that idolatry was frowned upon. Turns out that demons attach themselves to these idols as they are worshipped. There's always been a power in belief, in faith, and like angels, demons use that power. That's my theory, anyway. That was pretty good. That was a pretty good line, I think. It's just me. They also need a hook. Anyone who's not mentally unstable and is in fact a victim of possession had to let it in, and that's the key. They need to let you in. They need you to let them in. This is where the evil truly comes in. Yeah, and lust is, but see, that's the thing about lust is, and that's the thing that you can ascribe to all this, is that lust can be good too. I mean, if you're lustful of your spouse, a moral person can turn that into a good thing. Yes. That's why they start out calling themselves Legion. That was the whole point of that story, was that they were Legion. And if you recall, I don't know how many people are familiar with the story, but he actually banished them into pigs, and then they slaughtered the pigs. So I kind of play with that a little bit, but I don't think I'm still not remembering exactly. I did mention a potbelly pig next door, which is funny because my neighbor just put a potbelly pig in his backyard, and my dogs have been going nuts for 2 days. So maybe it does need to be in there. It gave me dreams at first, dreams of men, dreams of sex and orgasms. Not connections, just the feelings, the loss of self, the pure need and hunger, the animal banging on the bars inside myself. Civilized humans control that nature. It is a part of us, but we clamp it down and we don't look under the lid ever. That's what makes us moral. Our control over the animal inside of every one of us. It's okay. Gave me dreams at first. Actions, just the feelings, the loss of self, the pure need, and the hunger. What is that? Let's see. My dreams released it. It began coming out at work or with my friends. Lust, pure, simple, and evil lust. The hunger of the body filled me every waking moment. That was when it changed. Do you not feel your need? A voice asked me as I would doze off to sleep. I do, I would say as if in a trance. Hunger, need, want, desire. It recited as if calling out to virtues. Take them, relish them, feel what you will. The voice was guttural and harsh, but I was lost. How? I asked. Take me in. Let me show you. Wouldn't you like that? Wouldn't you like that? How? Ask me to show you. Invite me to understand you. Ask me to show you. Invite me to understand you. Invite me in. Who? I asked, too tired to get the full question out. Praise my name and ask me in, and all of your questions will be answered, all of your wants fulfilled, all of your needs provided for, and finally, you will get your answers. The voice faded, and just before I dropped off to sleep, just before dropping off, that's better, yeah. I invited it in. Yeah, okay, I said. It was more than enough. I started awake to find nothingness greeting me. I floated in pitch black. No sound, no color, no light, and it was cold. No, now that I think on it again, I'd say it wasn't so much cold as that there was a distinct absence of heat or light or color. They were all just stripped away. I was inside myself, locked in a cage, one I let happen. I wasn't to stay there, however. I was compelled. Everything I did, every thought, every action were one of lust and chaos. It began with my parents. I abused them verbally at first, and then attacked them physically. Deb, my mother cried one morning. I just saw 2 men leave your room. 2. What is wrong with you? And rage took over. I will do what I want. I'm grown now, bitch. and I slapped her hard. That was the first time I'd ever been violent, but a part of me really enjoyed it. Disgust was gone, love was gone. All I had was the cold, washed out life of lust. I had to lose myself in sensation to feel anything remotely real. I started hurting myself to feel something I knew was real. Cutting quickly becomes a habit, one that is very difficult to control. I was still in control, but that didn't last very long either. See, let's do this way. Thought I was still in control. How's that? I thought I was still in control, but I wasn't. Not really. That is how they fool you into not getting help. Found myself locked again in my cell in darkness. I have you now, child. The entity spoke to me directly for the first time. What? I was myself, and I was destroyed. Everything I had done to my family, my friends, and just people I picked up and fucked over. The shame hit me, something so powerful that I knew I couldn't live with it. That's when the evil truly started. It wasn't enough that the demon used my body to commit these horrid and evil acts. I had to watch. It reminded me every time that it was me doing these things, that by my choice, I'd allowed it to enter me. So, yeah, the pain is all internal. It's all shame. It's all, I've let this happen. This is my fault. I'm responsible, right? Yep. I was a sex addict for a very long time. And what cured me was I got diabetes and then had ED issues, so, I mean, that kind of cuts that out. And then once I got over the diabetes, lost a lot of weight and things started working again, I wasn't that way. So I think maybe it was a blessing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love women, but the thing is that I truly need a connection, and you don't get that way. You don't get that committing adultery and sleeping around and doing one night stands. It's just not good for you. But that's my belief. I mean, people, I guess they can do what they will. I just don't believe it's very helpful. So I had to watch. It reminded me every time that it was me doing these things, that by my choice I had allowed it to enter me. Oh, child, the voice spoke. It is time. Time for what? I asked, my voice shaking. Oh, to teach you, to give you pain and torment. It chuckled an evil, slimy laugh. There we go. See, I'm real bad about the adverbs. I still have a lot in here, but adverbs are bad. It is time for you to pay, to sear your soul. I felt everything then. Every little bit of pain the demon caused anyone, I felt it. That pain was what it fed upon. My pain and the pain of my family and friends. It would let me look in the mirror and I would see myself gaunt and dying. My skin was peeling. My lips were cracked and caked with blood. My eyes weren't my own. I couldn't even remember the last time I don't know what was looking back, but it wasn't me. My face smiled then, a strange, half-crooked smile, helpless. The demon took me into the living room where my mother and father sat watching a movie on the couch. Hurting people feels as good as sex, the voice said to me before entering the room. We stood directly in front of the television. Now, should I say I or we? Because I'm transitioning to where it's not really her doing everything. But let go on with it this way. We stood directly in front of the television. I tried to move, tried to stop what I was doing. What I knew was about to happen, but I could do nothing. Deb, my father asked, annoyed, move, please. I had no idea what my face looked like, but I could see a look of horror come over my parents' faces. I went to my mother and hit her with my fist right in the face and continued to do so, and I felt every blow as if I were the one being beaten to death. Over and over I hit my mother. My father tried to intervene, but he couldn't even stand. It was like something was holding him in place. My mother's face, even thinking back on it, I'll move when I'm goddamn ready, I heard my voice say. That was when something strange happened. Okay, well, stranger. I turned to my father, whose eyes were filled with sadness, confusion, and rage, and I heard my voice say something. I heard my voice say something, and I have no idea what it said. It was in a guttural and strange language. What? I asked inside my head. The answer I received was pain. Pain beyond imagining. It was like something burned me with ice, but throughout my entire being and all at once. It wasn't long before I lost time again. I woke in bed, but I was struggling, fighting, or at least my body was. Your name, demon, a voice demanded, a voice that was calm yet stern. There was no yelling, just deep, demanding statements. Yeah, I think we does work there. I felt, and I cannot call it pain because it was so much beyond that. It was like something was slowly squeezing my every blood vessel, squeezing every blood vessel in my body, trying to empty me like a tube of toothpaste. Fuck you, cunt, it said. It was not my voice this time. It was that guttural demon voice. By the blood of Christ, I command thee, reveal thy name, the voice said again. I felt the ropes tying my arms and legs break. I could do nothing. The demon had me completely, and no matter how much I desperately wanted to go to the voice and beg for it to tell me how to help rid myself of the demon, I could do nothing. I felt my body rise above the bed as if something had lifted me. My body was floating. I'm going to kill you, priest, the guttural demon voice spoke through my lips. No, I cried inside the darkness. I needed help. I needed to help. I didn't know what was happening or what to do. The pain was everywhere then. From my toenails to the split ends of my hair, it was pain, like the burning of ice. No, I cried again, racked with pain. We are Legion, the voice said, the true voice of the demon. Thrice and done, the steady voice called again. In the name of Christ and by his blood, I command thee, demon, what is thy name? Yeah, that works. The guttural voice wailed as if the name was taken by force. Deborah. The man said gently, can you hear me, child? Woo, I just had a little emotion there. I wanted to scream, oh God, yes, I can hear you, but I couldn't. There we go. I can hear you, but I could do nothing. There we go. There we go, yeah. Give me an animal, the calm man's voice said. He was rushed as if excited. My father's voice spoke. Will a piglet do? He asked. The neighbors had a pet potbelly pig that had just given birth about 6 weeks before. Perfect, I heard the man say. No, the demon screamed. I vomited then, or rather the demon did. Like everything else, it hurt. It stung. It was like a burn from ice. What happened next, I could not exactly say at the time. I could only describe it as sprinkles. Like just as the rain shower is starting. The difference was that every time a drop hit my body, it would return some heat. Like it was going to wash away what was happening. Every time I felt that, desperately wanted and needed warmth, the demon would scream. I will kill you, priests, my voice said. It wasn't the demons this time. I hoped this meant that the creature was losing control over my body. The man in the room laughed. He actually laughed. Well, lust demon, you have it all wrong, see? I'm not a priest or really even any clergy. Then I will rip your heart out and taste what you are myself. Again, the young man laughed. Try, he said, and crossed his arms. I fought for control, and for slightly brief second, I stepped forward. Having been unsure as to what to do, I decided without letting myself know that I was about to commit suicide. My mother was likely dead. My father was trying to capture me so that I could be dealt with. I wanted it to end. I felt a blade at my throat before I had taken 3 steps. I stopped. I had control again, but only because the demon retreated. Run, I begged. When it comes back, it will destroy us all. The man smiled. Oh, he began. I see that you really are a normal girl. The man couldn't have been more than 5'2", but seemed confident. He winked at me. Just winked. He reached out with the hand holding a strange curved knife and touched its tip to his arm. He grinned. I want to change this to his palm. He grimaced and cut into it. My name is Jackson Kane. I'm really too connected to this character. Okay. My name is Jackson Kane, the man spoke. I felt the thing inside me go, well, insane. It was trying to flee, trying to get out, to go somewhere to do something. I didn't know exactly what I did, but I managed to say, it's still in me. What do I do? I managed to ask. See, this is why I edit as I read these for the videos. I don't know exactly what I did, but I managed to ask. It is still in me. What do I do? As I looked directly into his eyes. He touched his bloody finger to my forehead and slowly, quietly, began to recite something in yet another language. After only a few moments, I felt heat, warm, natural heat. The light reach into my soul. It was the light. The warmth was God. I uncovered my face and looked into that kind face. In the name of Jesus Christ, and by the blood of the Savior who died for all sins, I say in his name, be gone, demon Dumazid. The demon raged. Help me, you will help me. You must fight the Cain, the demon told Deb in her mind. Be gone, demon, I heard the man called Cain call again. This time I heard the squeals of a pig. You are one of us, Cain. You are cursed and fallen. You cannot use its name to cast us out, the demon argued. I tried to shout, but it came out as a whisper, though the statement grew louder as I went. Be gone, demon. Be gone, liar, false promiser. In the name of Christ, I say, be gone. That was the last I knew of the encounter. The man called Jackson Cain was gone when I came out of it. My father sitting on the corner of my bed. He didn't look right. The pig was gone too. Daddy? I asked. The relief that came over his face was like the sun rising after months of darkness. He came to me and sat on my bed. He put his arms around me and squeezed me for everything he was worth. Mom? I asked. In the hospital, he said into my hair. She will be okay, but she has some healing to do. Oh my God. I was arrested 2 days later. It seems the demon would take over and go fuck everyone it could and then kill some of them. I had no idea. The Catholic Church spoke on my behalf, strangely, in the judge's chambers. I was sent to an asylum where I've been kept for almost 20 years. I deserve every single moment. I let the bastard in. It was my fault, my choice, and 32 men died for it. Yeah, my ex-wife was a cutter. And she told me a lot about it. And I really sympathize with her because that's the thing that a lot of kids end up doing. I did a little bit of things like that myself. Guys tend to punch the wall, you know. I broke my hand once doing that. So I really think it's going to turn out very, very good. I'm not sure. Do you think the ending was too abrupt? I'm not really sure. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see here. So, yeah. And I tied Cain into it because I want to make sure. So the thing about Cain is everybody believes that he's Jewish. And he is half Hebrew. He is only the 8th descendant of the original son of Adam. And they live, they're immortal. They don't get sick. They don't die of natural causes. But they can be killed if enough damage is done to their body. They have exceptional healing, kind of like the Wolverine, except it takes a lot longer, that kind of thing. And it's the curse. Because God cursed Cain to walk the earth. And he was marked. And anybody who lifted a hand against Cain was cursed. So that, I know I'm extrapolating, and I know that probably isn't what it really means. But to me, that is Cain was destined to walk earth forever. The person who killed him became a vampire. His son, because in the Jewish belief, they still have that, especially in the really ancient times. The mirror effect. Yeah. But in ancient times, the sins of the father were always passed to the son, just like debt. And so, especially in the Hebrew faith. But in Cain's backstory, he was engaged. And in order to get married, he loved her and started going to her church. And he started listening. And he didn't become a Christian in order to marry his fiancée. He became a Christian because he believed it. Because those in most modern contemporary Protestant faiths, anybody can call on the name of Christ to banish a demon. In the New Testament, it says so. So the whole thing is that everybody, the bad guys, the good guys, everybody believe he's still cursed. But when he was baptized into Christianity, God turned his curse into a blessing. So he can still be killed, but he still has his healing. He still has his immortality, but it has become a blessing. So the person who lifts a hand against Cain will not become cursed. So that's where kind of the whole novel ends. And there's going to be a profound thing at the end where you realize that true evil doesn't come from heaven or earth. It comes from inside us. And it is an illusion because we can make correct decisions. So that's kind of where I'm going with the whole through line, I think, after rereading it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I really, really want to save up some money and start going to places. And I know there's a supernatural community that normies don't enter. I brushed up against it when I was stationed in Biloxi, and I spent a lot of time in New Orleans. But I never asked. I never tried to insert myself into it so I could learn some things. And I think that eventually I would like to. Yeah. That's the whole through line, is that we have free will. Nobody can force us to do anything. And evil is an illusion because we can make the choice. And so the story is that Jackson's mother's a witch, and she became a witch by sacrificing an unborn child to a demon, which in the end, it hooked her because she believed it. A demon cannot take a being's soul without their complicity. So an innocent unborn child wouldn't have been a sacrifice. It wouldn't have taken anything. It would have just died. But the whole purpose is that he wants a Cain. The demon wants a Cain. And they're working in concert with the Lord of Vampires, Drago, who was the third descendant of Cain who killed his father. And so he's super, super powerful. And he believes that if he kills the last of the Cains, that he will become a god. And the demons are helping him do this. So I have to introduce demons into the stories. And this is the way I decided to do it. So you think it's good? You think that the way it works is really good? I'm going to do some research here. I'm going to put this. I'd like to get this up tomorrow, but I've got to find some music that'll go with it that's free and not on YouTube Studio, I guess. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So this is like my sixth story now in the past month, since like September 20th or September 25th. So I think I'm doing pretty good. Uh, I might even. Yeah, yeah. I do poetry every now and then, but I have to be super inspired. That poem I have on my channel is really the only one I'm really proud of that I wrote myself. That just came to me one day, and I'll tell you the story behind that is that I was trying to pick up a chick. I was drunk off my ass. I was about I just got back from the military, so it was about 24, 25. No, I was closer to 30. And I was trying to pick up a girl. I'd gotten divorced and all that stuff. And uh, this really hot girl, she's like, "Prove that you're a writer. Write me something right now." So I made up that poem that's on my that's what it's all about. And she was impressed. Didn't give me her number, but thank you, thank you. I think it's unique too. I don't think that there are many stories that tell of a possession from the victim's point of view. Every time we see any kind of um, demonic exorcism kind of thing, it's always from the family's point of view or the exorcist's point of view. We never show the internals of possession. And that's what I wanted to show, was that these people have to invite them in and they feel trapped. Yeah, and that's, a lot of people don't understand the whole. I mean, they may have heard the term sins of the father because it's kind of a cliche, but nobody believes that the sins of the father were passed down to their children like they did. Like I don't know. I don't know a lot of um, Hasidic Jews or Jews in general. I would like to have a conversation because I don't really go around asking people about their religion. Um, but I need to have a conversation about that aspect of the sins of the father. If it's still something that's held to. Um, but yeah, the blood of Cain. And there's I don't know if you recall, but in that story, the zombie story, he explains that everything's about the blood. Power is in blood. That's why viruses attack the blood. That's why blood is in every single. There are blood consuming monsters in every single religion. That's why a lot of tribal and ancient religions believed that drinking the blood of your enemies would give you their power. And I do truly believe that there's a power in blood. You can hear stories all the time about people who have never met family members before meet a family member and they can feel that connection without ever saying a word. Or they have a connection to somebody who ends up being related to them. Some stuff like that. You hear that all the time. I think there is power in blood. I think that's why it's something that scares us societally. Blood scares us, and I think that's why. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think the stream started about an hour ago, and I don't want to keep everybody up too late. And I know there's just a couple of people watching, but hopefully, going through it like this, I can post this. I can keep this on the channel, and people will get something out of it. if they do listen to the story, or they read or they watch this and then they listen to the story. But poetic styles. Oh, nice. That is a really good title. I like that. Yep. That's why one of my favorite vampire movies is Life Force. I think it's one of the best vampire movies of all time. And the fact that the vampire is actually aliens, that just it wowed me. When did that come out? Let me see. No, wrong one. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's a good movie. Ooh. Oh, I didn't say HBO Max. But yeah, I mean, I'm hoping people will get something out of this, and it'll help them understand where the story is coming from. Yeah, the mirror thing. Yeah. So, what do you think about the screen pictures that fit? I'm not sure. No, anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I know not a lot of people are going to watch at 3 a.m. So, but hopefully people will get something out of this. Again, ending streams are always awkward, so thank you, and I hope your weekend is wonderful.